Welcome to a place where hearts unwind, infinite threads that gently bind, love and compassion in every line. Together we rise through space and time.
Hey, welcome back to Infinite Threads. I'm your host, Bob. After yesterday's 400th episode, I've been sitting with that image of the thread beneath everything, the love force, the quiet current that keeps moving through our lives, sometimes long before we understand what it's doing. Today, I want to stay close to that mystery, but look at it from another angle. There are moments when the heart seems to know something before the mind can explain it. I don't mean that we should throw logic away. We need reason. We need clear thinking, and we need the ability to pause and ask whether what we feel is true or whether it's only an old fear wearing a new costume. But even with all that, I still believe the heart has a kind of wisdom. Not every feeling and not every impulse, and the deeper heart, the deeper heart. The place in us that recognizes when something is kind, when something is cruel, when something is being said with love, and when the words may be polite, but the spirit behind them is cold. We've all felt that. Someone says the right thing, but something inside us knows that the room is not safe. Another person struggles to find the words, yet their care reaches us anyway. A child may not understand all the reasons, but they know who feels gentle. An animal knows which hand can be trusted too. There is a knowing beneath explanation. Love often speaks there first. It reaches a place in us that doesn't require a lecture. It doesn't need a perfect argument, and it simply arrives with a certain warmth. And something in us says, yes, this is life-giving. That doesn't make love irrational either. Maybe it means love is working with a deeper kind of intelligence. The mind can calculate. The heart can organize. The mind can measure what is useful, and the heart can notice what is sacred. Both matter. But if the mind is left alone, it can become very clever without becoming wise. And that's one of the dangers of being human. We can explain almost anything if we want to badly enough. We can build a beautiful argument around a selfish decision. And we can make cruelty sound practical, and we do that. We tell people why, and we can make indifference sound mature too. We can convince ourselves that we're being reasonable when really we've only grown numb. And that's when the heart needs to speak. Not the reactive heart that lashes out, and not the wounded heart that sees danger everywhere, but the honest heart. Guys, the heart that still trembles when another person is being treated as less than human. You've seen it. You've felt it. The heart that feels the warning when our words are about to become sharper than truth requires. The heart that knows, even before we say it out loud, that love is being asked of us. I think conscience lives somewhere near that place. Not as guilt alone. Guilt can become unhealthy. Shame can twist the truth and make us feel condemned instead of called. Conscience, however, conscience is different. Conscience does not simply accuse. It invites us back to ourselves. Don't run from it, guys. When you feel that, look at it. Listen to it. It says, that's not who you want to become. It says, There is a better way through this. It says, do not let fear make the decision. And often that voice is quiet. We may have to grow still in order to hear it. The louder parts of us usually arrive first: pride, defensiveness, hurt, the little attorney in the mind that can justify almost anything if given enough time. Love rarely shouts over all of that. It waits for a breath. Then it offers the next honest step. Maybe that's why the wisdom of love can be so easy to miss. It doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like a pause before we reply, a nudge to call someone, a heaviness when we know an apology is due. There are times when love's guidance feels almost inconvenient. We already had our speech prepared. We knew exactly how to win the argument. We had polished our hurt until it looked like righteousness. Then the heart interrupts. Not to excuse the other person and not to deny what happened, but just to remind us that winning is not always healing. That reminder, it can change everything. A person can be right and still make the room colder. A person can have the facts and still lose the thread. Love asks for more than correctness. It asks whether truth is being carried in a way that can still serve life. And guys, that is a hard lesson. I'm still learning it. I'm learning it every single day. Because logic can feel clean. It gives us lines, categories, reasons, and evidence. Love is messier than that. It makes us consider the person inside the problem. It makes us remember context without abandoning accountability. Love doesn't simplify the world. It deepens it. That may be why it often knows before the mind does. The mind may still be sorting the pieces while the heart has already felt the direction toward mercy, toward honesty, toward protection, toward repair, or toward a no that does not require hatred. There's real wisdom there. I think we have to be careful though. People can mistake every strong emotion for guidance. They can call fear intuition. They can call anger truth, and they can call attachment love when it is really need, habit, or hunger for something familiar. So the heart needs healing too. A wounded heart can easily misread the room. A frightened heart can confuse peace with danger because danger is what it learned to expect. That's why love and wisdom have to grow together. The heart learns through gentleness, but also through honesty. It learns by being loved well. It learns by facing what has harmed it. It learns by discovering that not every closed door is rejection and not every open door is safe. Over time, the deeper knowing becomes clearer. We begin to recognize the difference between panic and peace, between being drawn toward life and being pulled back into an old pattern, between the ache of vulnerability and the warning of harm. That kind of discernment is sacred work. No one masters it all at once. We practice. We look back and learn. It's why I tell different circumstances for each thing. That's why I have all those stacked comparisons, because all of us are different. And I want to hit on something that works for you. We forgive ourselves for the times we misunderstood. We become more willing to listen when the quiet part of the soul begins to speak. And I believe the love force helps us there. It does not force the answer into our hands, though. It works more like a lamp. Enough light for the next step. Not always the whole road, just the next step. Call them. Tell the truth. Rest before you answer. Listen longer. Protect the vulnerable. Let go of the bitterness that has started pretending to be strength. And it does. Those little inner promptings may not look important from the outside, guys, but they shape a life. You get into a habit when you start saying these things to yourself, when you start saying, well, what did I just do? What did I just say? And you stop and you look at it. A person becomes kinder by answering them. A relationship becomes safer because someone listened before reacting. A wound stops traveling because one heart knew just in time that it did not want to pass the pain forward. That's the love beneath logic. Not against logic, beneath it. Like roots beneath a tree. The roots do not argue with the branches. They feed them. Love should feed our thinking. It should make our reason more humane. It should make our judgment less eager to destroy. It should help our intelligence serve something deeper than the need to be right. If you're telling yourself that, I've got to be right here. Stop. That's yelling at you. Those words are yelling at you to stop and think. Because if the mind is brilliant but the heart is closed, something essential is missing. We may become efficient, we may become persuasive, we may even become powerful, but we will not become wise. Wisdom, guys, wisdom needs love. It needs that inner recognition that life is sacred even when life is complicated. It needs the humility to admit that the person in front of us is more than what we currently understand. It needs the courage to act when the heart knows something is wrong. So today, maybe we can pay attention to that quieter knowing. Not every impulse deserves obedience, but the deeper voice of love deserves a hearing. The one that asks us to be brave without being cruel. The one that calls us toward mercy without asking us to lie. The one that reminds us in the middle of all our reasoning that the soul of another person is still in the room. You say that you say that to yourself in the middle of something and it stops you. That voice may not always explain itself immediately. Sometimes we understand it later. We look back and realize the heart knew the path before the mind had finished drawing the map. Thank you, guys. Thank you for spending this time with me on Infinite Threads. May we think clearly, but not coldly. May we trust the wisdom of love when it calls us back to what is human. And may the love force keep teaching our hearts to recognize the next true step. I love you guys very, 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 very much. And you know what I need you to do. Go out and pass that on, okay? Later, Gators. Bye-bye.